Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So this is definitely a different kind of video than what I usually post on my channel. I am an intuitive reader. I do readings for clients. However, I don't put too much of this content out because that's just usually not where my focus is. However, as of late, Spirit has sort of guided my focus to the topic of divine counterparts. This is a message, or this is a topic, I should say, that's been coming up a lot in my own life, but also in a lot of client readings. And in meditation over the last, I want to say 2 weeks, this topic of divine counterparts has really been emphasized. And so Spirit was like, listen, you need to put out this information. So here I am. So many people are sort of feeling this activation when it comes to divine counterparts. And understand that when I use divine counterparts, I don't necessarily mean twin flames, okay? I'm not someone that really subscribes to that ideology. I think that the way that topic is presented, at least nowadays, it really keeps people in karmic cycles. So when I say divine counterparts, it's really just kind of like your soulmate, or basically the person you're supposed to do life with, right? And divine counterpart relationships, they're deep, they're spiritual. The bonds are really strong. But most importantly, they require us to do work on ourselves. It's sort of like the best version of you meets the best version of the other person. And so there's growth, there is expansion, and there's healing inherent in divine counterpart relationships, not just collectively between the two, but individually, typically individually before you come together. And there's something about these topics, there's something about divine counterparts, again, that's really being emphasized right now. Now, what's interesting is, if you'll notice the thumbnail, the image that you're seeing, and some of the other images that'll pop up in this video, there's a lot of pink. In meditating on this, because this is a message I got, I want to say 2 weeks ago. And me, I don't like to just get a message and disseminate it. I need to sit with it. I need to really understand it, so that what I'm saying to you and what I'm delivering to you is truly how the message is supposed to be delivered. I just kept seeing pink. And not just pink, I kept seeing roses, I kept seeing hearts, like very lovey-dovey, sensitive, whimsical kind of colors and images. And it immediately brought a smile to my face, because with everything going on in the world, with so much negativity, it's almost like this topic of divine counterparts is being highlighted because we need more love in the world right now. We need more positivity. We need more vulnerability, especially emotional vulnerability. And that's also another thing that has come up. Emotional vulnerability is a tough thing. Being able to open up to someone, without being rejected, without being hurt, without being abused, without being ridiculed even, is something that many of us struggle with. And here's the thing with divine counterparts, there is this level of openness, there's this level of healing and expansion that these type of relationships kind of require. They're not your regular kind of relationships. Of course, you're going to deal with regular kind of issues. However, you've bypassed things like playing games. You've bypassed, being guarded. You've bypassed, not opening up. You've bypassed those things in order to have these really strong spiritual bonds with your counterpart. And I feel like this is a time where many of us are being called to work on our issues related to emotional vulnerability and being able to be open to our counterpart in ways that maybe we're afraid to, or in ways that we haven't been in the past with other people. Like I said, divine counterparts, it's definitely a different kind of relationship. It's not, the usual. And so I've been seeing so much pink. I've been seeing and feeling so much love and acceptance and all of the things that we truly want out of relationships, but that maybe we are afraid to have, afraid to open up to, afraid to give even. So the fact that divine counterparts are being emphasized right now means that many of us are doing some internal work. Many of us are really examining our emotional wounds, maybe even our traumas as they relate to relationships, because the time is approaching for us to really link up with our divine counterparts. Or even if you've linked up with your divine counterpart, maybe it's time to take things to the next level. Now, again, I'm not someone who really ascribes to twin flames, right? However, I do believe that many of us have a divine counterpart. They're not our other half. They're not, I'm not half of a person and they're half of a person when we come together. These are two whole people coming together in a substantial and kind of spiritual way to bring love to this world in a time when we so desperately need it. And so that is the main objective for this video, right? If you feel called to this video, if you believe that you have a divine counterpart, if you're in a relationship with your divine counterpart and you kind of just want to know what the next step is, then this is definitely the video for you. So I want you to get comfortable. I want you to limit distractions around you. And I want you to focus on the screen in front of you right now. You'll see 3 different images. I want you to focus on them. I want you to choose one. And then I want you to go to the timestamp in the description box below so you can check out the message that resonates for you, the message that you've picked. And so it is my intention that this video gives you the confirmation, the clarity, the enlightenment, and or the illumination that you need right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, my loves. So if you chose pile 1, then this is the message for you. So I've already prayed over the cards. I've selected some oracle cards. We'll go through those first. And then I will use the tarot cards to get a little more detailed message. And at the end of the reading, you'll have the option to ask a yes or no question, and I will pull a card to answer your question. All right, so let's get into it. Pile 1. So first, we have vacation, and it says you will be traveling soon. So I should preface this by saying that as I was meditating while I was preparing for your video, I got this sense of sweetness. I heard the word roses. I heard the word daisies. I heard the word honey. So this could be a honeymoon of sorts. Now, I also heard the word tempest or tempestuous. So to me, it signifies like a fight. Like there could have been some sort of disagreement. There could have been I'm hearing the word bad blood, but I don't necessarily think it's that serious. I think it's more like you had a fight, there was a falling out, and now you're entering this time of sweetness where you may be traveling together. Maybe you are rekindling your relationship, and maybe you want to do that by taking a trip together, going on vacation. There's this, essentially what I'm trying to say is that there's this energy of perhaps there was separation, there was discord, and now there's this coming together. There's this sweetness, and there's this vacation, a trip coming up soon, or that you're planning right now. I also heard the name Julie, Julia, or Julian, so that may be relevant to someone out there, right? But so far we've got vacation. Next. Look at this. I love this. Safe travel. So yeah, you are definitely going on a trip, planning a trip, taking a trip. Now, what I also like about this is when I see this card, it also signifies to me personal expansion. So even if there was time apart, even if you still are in a period of time apart, there's this personal development that's happening with you, with your counterpart, where it's like you're safe to expand, you're safe to grow. And in that growing, you two can meet each other on the same frequency and on the same wavelength. So there is this element of expansion, this element of adventure, even with this travel, right? So definitely a trip in your future. But there's this traveling together, and not necessarily in the physical sense, more so like traveling through life together, traveling on this spiritual journey together. Again, personal expansion. And I feel like both you and your counterpart are experiencing this right now. Okay, we have this card and it says trapped. Now, don't get afraid. This isn't a bad thing. This is something that's definitely locked down. All right. And if you see, this is a number 37, which is a 10. So this lets me know that there's a new beginning. And not only is there this new beginning, but it's very solid. It's on lock. All right. So again, if you've experienced sort of discord in the past, if you've experienced separation, if maybe the first time around your relationship wasn't as stable, I feel like you're entering a period where now things are solidified. Now things are exclusive. They're locked down. There's a certain sense of commitment here, which I think is really great. And it's this new beginning. So I really think for you, pile one, there's this energy of, okay, things weren't working out before. Maybe we took some time apart and now we're rekindling, and perhaps going on this trip together is going to solidify this new stage of your relationship. I really like this for you. This energy feels very exciting. It feels very happy, sweet, loving. Like there's this really great energy here. Next, we've got crystals, and this says achievement. All right. So yeah, there's this energy of, and I want you to see that this is a number 9, right? So there's a cycle that has ended, and there's this achievement, this leveling up. In this deck, whenever I, get this card, it reminds me of sort of the world card where you've graduated, you've gone through the tough lessons. You've, gone through the school of hard knocks, you've passed your test, and now you've achieved something. So I want to say that many of you have been really working on yourselves in the past. You've really been doing the work individually, where you realize perhaps where you've had emotional wounds and you've worked to heal them, perhaps taken a look at yourself and seen and really examined how you show up in relationships. And now it's like, it's time. You've graduated. It's time to move on to the next thing, to the next level. And again, I love that for you guys. Next, we have 8th house, and this is the mystery card. I want you to notice this also. This is a 46, so it is a 10 also. So there's a new beginning. Now, 8th house has a lot to do with our repressed emotions. It has to do with intimacy as well. So some of you may have been working on deep emotional trauma, maybe even sexual trauma, intimacy issues in relationships. Either way, the work that you've done has been very deep and it's been very substantive, and it's kind of required you to really, examine your demons, like really go deep. Some of you have been doing maybe work with respect to things that you experienced in childhood. Like this just lets me know that you didn't just do superficial work, right? You really went deep. You really went hard, and you really sort of worked on issues that could affect your intimacy. And I feel like that's why in this new chapter of this divine partnership, that's why it's so stable, because there aren't these remnants of issues. There aren't these trust or loyalty or any of those kind of things that could really stand in the way of having a solidified relationship. And so I feel like that is part of what's contributing to why this new stage is so stable. Next, look at what I just said. Trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. So many of you had trust issues. Now, this could have been trust issues directly related to this divine counterpart relationship, or this could just be trust issues that you've accumulated throughout life, right? Like perhaps you had issues with intimate partners and trust. Maybe you've been cheated on. Maybe you've been abandoned. All of those things. You've really worked on them. Now, I don't want you to get afraid either, because maybe you chose this pile and maybe this doesn't necessarily sound like it's resonating at the moment. Understand that even if, this isn't coming to fruition right now, understand that you're on the right track for this to happen. For some of you, I'm hearing this is a call to really dive deep and work on those really deep trust issues, right? Sometimes when we have trust issues, it keeps us very closed off and very guarded, to the point where we can't even really express ourselves in our full authenticity, right? Because we don't trust that our partner is going to accept us. We don't trust that our partner is not going to hurt us, right?
So perhaps in relationships, you've showed up very guarded, right? There were parts of you that you kept very guarded. It could be your heart. It could be your emotions. It could be your opinions. Whatever it is, there was this level of guarding that there was like this wall that you kept up. And that is what you're working on, right? And whoever your divine counterpart is, this is someone who you can feel safe with. This is someone you can feel safe with to be yourself, someone that you can share your secrets with, someone that you can really have a substantive relationship. And in doing so, not only will you have a stable relationship, but you will also be able to achieve a lot of things with this person. Like, let's say, you guys start businesses together, or maybe you develop things for other people. Whatever it is, the level of strength of this relationship translates to a lot of building in other areas of life together. Okay. But trust is a big thing here. And so you really need to focus on trust issues and dealing with those and coming to terms with those things on a very deep and substantive level. That is what's going to help this divine counterpart, not divine counterpart. That's what's going to have this divine partnership with your divine counterpart take shape and really become stable. So that, think of it this way. It's like you have a headquarters, right? You have a headquarters and then you see this vacation, safe travel. It's like you can go far, but you always have a home to come back to. Now, for some, I'm hearing that this isn't like physical travel, right? It's almost like your relationship with your divine counterpart is so stable. You can be free to do the things that you need to do in your life for yourself. For instance, let's say that you're someone that wants to pursue higher education. Maybe you want to go to law school, medical school, or you want to get your graduate degree. Now, we all know that that takes a bit of sacrifice. And when you're in a relationship, it may require sacrifice on your part and on your partner's part. Understand that whatever you want to do in your life, whatever goals you have for yourself, this divine counterpart relationship will facilitate that. You can go and do what you need to do. Maybe you have a job or career that requires you to travel a lot. And you're like, I don't want to travel a lot because I can't trust this person. I don't know what they're going to do when I'm not around. Spirit wants you to know that this divine counterpart, or the relationship that you get into with your divine counterpart, that trust, that lack of trust, I should say, is not going to be an issue. You can go far. You can do what you need to do, knowing that your relationship is stable, knowing that your partner is committed to you, knowing that whatever either of you do individually is not going to shake or rattle this very strong foundation of a relationship. So I hope that brings some kind of solace to you. And then in terms of our archetype card, we have beggar. Okay. And so it says light attributes, confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. And then we have the shadow attribute, dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. Okay. So essentially this archetype card is letting me know that there perhaps were issues with codependency, right? Think of someone who is a beggar, right? It's almost like they cannot sustain themselves. They need to rely on other people for things, for resources and everything like that, right? This is also letting me know that this is a call to become empowered within yourself, meaning that whatever you need, know that you can facilitate it within yourself. And in doing that, it will be reflected back to you in your relationship. So the trust issues that maybe you had, perhaps you need to address how you are trustworthy and how you show up in terms of trust in other relationships. Do you even trust yourself? The trust that you give to yourself is the trust that will be reflected back to you in other relationships. Okay, so this is a call to self-reflect, to understand that whatever you need from your divine counterpart, from your divine relationship, you need to ultimately cultivate within yourself first. Now, I'm also hearing the phrase, beggars can't be choosers. And for some, this may be, you may not be thinking this explicitly. However, you may feel like, well, I'll take what I can get, or sort of giving your attention and your effort to whoever's giving you attention and effort. And it's really important that you don't do that, right? It's almost like if you are very thirsty and you're so thirsty that you're willing to take a drink from anyone, it means that someone could poison your drink, someone could spit in your drink, and you would still take it because you're so thirsty. Now, I'm not saying this is how you are, but perhaps maybe this is how you've been in the past, or maybe you feel like that's the best that you can do, or maybe you're in this stage of desperation. Maybe you really want a relationship, right? The 8th house has a lot to do with our desires, like our deepest desires as well, right? The 8th house has a lot to do with sex. So that sexual desire, that sacral chakra energy, some of you are feeling this very strongly. And Spirit wants you or is reminding you that don't allow your desires to cloud your good judgment. Don't allow your want for a divine partner. Don't allow your hunger for this, spiritual bonded relationship to have you accept just anything or anyone. This isn't about fitting a square peg into a round hole. It's not like you're just going to take any old person and turn them into a divine counterpart. Your divine counterpart appears when you are in your divinity. So don't get into this beggars can't be choosers, or I really want this divine partnership, so I'm going to make this person into my divine partner. Work on yourself, and then your divine partnership will come together. All right, so now let's get into some tarot cards and get some more messages here. Okay, first card out is the 3 of Wands. So this talks about expectation. Some of you are literally like waiting. This could be a waiting game for you. This could be it's this energy of expectation. So some of you are at the point where, okay, you've done the work, right? And you're like, okay, where's my partner? Where are they? What are they doing? So some of you are in this expectation mode. That's a good place to be. Understand that this expectation mode, don't allow it to sort of have this kind of energy. This, okay, whoever comes, I've done my work, whoever comes along is my divine partner. That's not it, right? Sometimes what we don't want comes to us to sort of strengthen our resolve, right? So while you're waiting, like while you're in the waiting room, right? Give thanks and gratitude for your divine partner. Pray for your divine partner even, right? As they make their way to you or as you make your way to them, okay? Joyful expectation is the energy that you should have with this. Like, okay, I'm excited because either, my partner's on the way or things are starting to gel with us. Joyful expectation is sort of the name of the game right now. Okay, so far we've got a lot of fire energy. So this is like creation. This is also giving like rekindling energy. Like, okay, something is being reignited right now, especially with this Ace of Wands. This is all about the fire of creation, the fire of desire also. So for some, there's this like really strong sexual desire. This could definitely pop off on vacation. Okay, so if you are rekindling something, or if you're starting something new and you guys are going on vacation, I see a lot of passion. I see a lot of sexy time even, right? There's also this energy of literal creation, okay? And so if you're not trying to get pregnant, if you're not trying to have kids right now, you know what to do. However, there's lots of passion here. And, the 3 of Wands with the Ace of Wands makes 4 of Wands. And that is like celebration, happy home, this energy of containment. If you were to look at the traditional tarot, in the 4 of Wands, you have these 4 sort of posts, right? I hope this makes sense the way that I'm doing this. You have these 4 posts. And it sort of signifies the 4 corners of a house. It reminds me of, in the Jewish tradition, when people get married, they have the chuppah, right? Which is where the bride and the groom, that's what they get married under. And it signifies the 4 corners of the home, and the top is open, which lets in God. Like, it allows room for God. So there is this energy of coming together with your divine partner in a way that's very spiritual. So it's like the as above part is this element of spirituality, this letting room for God to guide you and to work on both of you individually and together. And then there's this element of passion that really holds this relationship together, that really solidifies your relationship. It reestablishes trust in your relationship. This is just really beautiful energy of coming together and creating. Now, remember I said before, there's a stability in this relationship that's going to allow you to build things together. There's this creation element also. So I wouldn't be surprised if when you and your divine counterpart come together, there's lots of ideas. There's this fire in your bellies to create new things, whether it's businesses, whether it's opportunities, whether it's work, whatever it is, there's going to be this revitalization or this ignition when it comes to ideas and building things together. Okay. Okay, you got 2 cards. All right. So we've got the Empress. Now, what did I say before? I want you to look at the imagery of this card. If you're not trying to get pregnant, take precautions, but this is a very fertile time for you. And not even just physically. I feel like it's a fertile time in the sense of creation. You and your divine counterpart coming together to cultivate and create something. I'm also hearing like world domination. So some of you guys, once you get together, you two are going to be unstoppable. There's this energy of taking over the world, you know, leaving your mark on this world. Whatever you're doing is an expression of the two of you combined. So again, this could be a physical child, or this could be something that the two of you birth. However, this is a very fertile time for you individually, as well as with your divine counterpart. And then finally, we have the 8 of Swords. And this is a card of sort of obsessive thinking. This is like really honing in on something, like really being almost obsessed about a particular thought. So some of you, this is really like this divine counterpart is really on the brain. Either you're really thinking about them, they're really thinking about you, or both of you are really thinking about each other. But there is this energy of, this is what I want. It's very one-track minded. You know, whenever we're obsessed about something, it's all that we can think about. We're very much rooted and grounded in this one thought, in this one desire. And that's where you're at right now. This could be where your partner is also, that like both of you have this sort of obsession. Some of you, this is also letting me know also with respect to this card right here that we pulled before, like beggars can't be choosers. And if you're really in this sort of obsessive kind of energy and you're just like, I really want this divine partner, again, this energy of like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, it's going to, let me put it this way. If you're willing to take anyone, trying to make them into a divine partner, you're going to give birth to something that you really don't want. Okay. For some, I'm hearing it's sort of this karmic cycle that you may be, you know, it may be a rebirth of a karmic cycle for some of you. So joyful expectation is the way to go, right? You should definitely, be joyfully expectant about what is to come, especially if you don't know who your divine counterpart is. You know, you've done the work, you've tackled the hard stuff, and now it's time to just be thankful and have gratitude for the fact that this is coming together, whether it seems like it or not, whether it looks like it or not, it indeed is, okay? Let's see what we have at the bottom of the deck. I really like this. This is the 6 of Pentacles. This is you give what you get. So understand that everything that you're experiencing, so is your divine counterpart. The way that you feel about them is the way that they feel about you. Their expectations for the relationship is the same as yours. And, you know, this is reminding me that, you know, I said before, I heard the word tempest or tempestuous. So there could have been a falling out. There could have been this separation. Now you're coming back together and you're both on equal footing. You both are really concerned with building together, creating together, having a time of sweetness. Again, maybe going on a trip, rekindling this relationship. For some of you, this is a new person, but I have to be honest, this really feels like the resurgence of an old relationship. Now, I say that, take that with a grain of salt, because a lot of readers will tell you, oh, someone's coming back, and that's not always the case. For some, this may be a type of person that is resurging. It may not be a specific person, or it may be a specific situation that's coming back around, okay? Don't be tied to just one person and say, okay, this person is coming back. Although for some of you, that may be the case. However, there is a resurgence of something or someone or a situation that is coming back around. And this time it's coming back around better. There's sweetness. There's equality, equanimity. There's stability. There's vacation and sexy time. But most importantly, there's just coming together to create something new and wonderful. So be joyfully expectant, be gracious, and be thankful for what is to come, because it's truly beautiful. All right. So now I want you to think of a yes or no question, and I will pull a card to answer your question. So take a moment. Think of a yes or no question. Okay, let's see what we have. We've got no. You can't fake it now. What glitters isn't gold. All right. So hopefully that resonates with you. Perhaps something that you thought was going to work isn't going to work. Something that is like fool's gold, but the answer to your question is no. All right, my loves. So hopefully you were able to get the clarity, the confirmation, or the enlightenment that you needed with this reading. And I will see you in my next video. All right, my loves. So this is the message for those who chose pile number 2. So I've already prayed over the cards. I've already selected some oracle cards. So we'll start off with those. Then I will pull some tarot cards for a more sort of in-depth message. And then at the end of the reading, you'll have the opportunity to ask a yes or no question. And then I will pull a card to answer your question. So when I was meditating on your message, I literally heard drawing a blank. I also saw the color gray and heard the word gray. So some of you may be in this really gray area. There was this energy of like not knowing what to say, of sort of drawing a blank. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm in this gray area. It's not yes, it's not no, it's just gray. And this sort of, it's almost this very amethyst sort of floating out in space energy. Like, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know what to say. So maybe some of you are, I don't want to say confused. It doesn't feel like confusion. It feels more like, all right, I have nothing. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to add. It's not yes. It's not no. It could be maybe. Like, that's sort of the energy I'm getting for you, like out the gate. All right. So let's get into the cards. All right, we have the card, communicate, compromise, forgive, work it out. All right, so I get this sense that perhaps you're not talking to your divine counterpart. Maybe this whole drawing a blank and not knowing what to say is like you guys are kind of non-communication and you really don't know what to say. For some of you, there's this gray area. Maybe you don't know if you want to be with this person, or likewise, or maybe it's this very sort of nebulous, very, I don't even want to say indecisive. It's just very middle of the road, could go this way, could go that way. There's also lots of possibilities in this energy, right? Because if it's not yes or it's not no, there's a whole gray area for you to explore. Either way, I feel like communication is sort of at a standstill, or you guys aren't communicating right now, or some of you are steadfast in not communicating. You're just like, you know what? I have nothing. I've got nothing to say. Let me see what they, what are they going to do in this silence? With me being silent, with me not saying anything, how is this person going to react? I feel like that's where some of you are right now. So communication is a thing, or should I say lack of communication is a thing. Next. All right, we've got the full moon. So we literally just had the second full moon in Capricorn back on July 21st. And so something could have become illuminated to you at this time. Obviously, full moons are a time of light. It's a time when things come to the surface. So there could have been some information that you learned, or there could have just been this revelation, right? This ending of a cycle. Capricorn has a lot to do with cycles ending. It has a lot to do with karmic cycles ending. So for some of you, you may have become aware of a karmic cycle that no longer serves you. And that could be why there's this lack of communication, or you drawing a blank and saying, I've got nothing to say, because at the full moon, you realize, you know what? I'm not continuing this cycle. For some of you, I'm hearing it could be like, okay, maybe you and your person are always sort of falling out. Maybe there's a lot of makeup to break up. Maybe there's a lot of push and pull, start and stop. You get what I mean, right? And you're like, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm no longer, chasing after this person. I'm not going to be the one to have to reconcile. Like, there is this stalwart. I don't even know if I'm using the right word. Stalemate, something like that. Sometimes when spirit speaks to me, they don't get the words all the way correct. But either way, this full moon showed you something that you really needed to see and that you really needed to understand. And again, I feel like it's this cycle that you're like, I'm no longer participating in this. So I've got nothing. I've got nothing to say. I'm not communicating. Let's see what happens. Next, we've got reciprocity. So this means that your divine counterpart is feeling the exact same way. And I must say that this is sort of a message I've been getting generally, where it's like, even if we're in separation from our divine counterpart, it's like, however we're feeling is how our divine counterpart is feeling as well. It's this mirroring that's going on. And so there is this desire to get together. Like, I want you to look at the imagery of this card. However, if you decide like, okay, I'm not speaking to this person, I'm not going to be the one to open the door of communication, they're probably feeling the same way. They're just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that either. So whereas you're like, okay, if I'm silent, if I don't say anything, let me see how they're going to react. They're doing the same thing. They're like, all right, I'm not going to say anything either. Let's see what, this person has to say. So both of you are on the same page in terms of communication. There could be this decision to not communicate. There could be this decision to have like limited communication, but either way, both of you are on the same page. But understand that whatever you feel for each other, this passion, right? Because fire represents passion. The passion is reciprocal. So even if you're not talking, y'all both still feel the same way about each other, which is nice. But we have to investigate this communication issue or lack thereof. Next, we've got B's, which is community. So what's interesting is that maybe you and your divine counterpart aren't talking to each other. However, you are talking to other people, in the sense that maybe you're asking other people for advice, right? That you see this cup of coffee. This is like meeting up with a friend for coffee and talking about, well, me and my person, we're not talking, or how do you I get this sort of energy of asking for advice. Like, this is a 37. Hopefully you can see that there, 37, which reduces to a 10, which reduces to a 1. So this is all about a new cycle. So the one thing perhaps that you're asking advice on, or perhaps what you want clarity on, is how to begin anew with this person. Like, now that you realize the karmic cycle that you no longer want to participate in, so you're kind of like, all right, so how do I do this now? We used to do things this way for so long. We kept doing this song and dance for so long. How do I break this? How do I do this differently? So some of you are seeking advice. Some of you are, even if you're not like sitting down with someone and seeking advice, maybe you're watching YouTube videos. Maybe you are tapping into communities that you're a part of to sort of understand how to move forward in this new space and in a new way. Next, we've got Scorpio. This is investigate. So for some of you, you could be dealing with a Scorpio, or you are a Scorpio. But Scorpio with the number 8, it really evokes this sort of depth and substance. Scorpio always wants to get to the truth of the matter. So this full moon could have shown you a truth with respect to a karmic cycle that you were constantly, engaged in. And when we talk about Scorpio, we're really talking about what is the root of the issue. So let's say that you had this, karmic cycle where it was like that traditional kind of runner chaser kind of thing, right? Where it's like you're making up to breaking up. Someone's always running away. Someone's always chasing. It's like Scorpio wants to know, why is it like that? What is the root cause of this karmic cycle? For some of you, this is the advice that you should be seeking. For others of you, this is the sort of personal investigation that you're doing. So in this time of lack of communication, in this time of silence, this gray area, it's really about, okay, where do these cycles come from? What are the underlying issues that have caused this cycle to continue for as long as it did? And I feel like this full moon really sparked that within you. And I feel like it probably sparked that within your counterpart as well, because again, you guys are sort of on the same page. You guys are sort of at the same frequency when it comes to how you feel about each other and how you feel about this relationship. So there's some investigation that has to be done. Whether it's, thinking about your traumas, your wounds, what you've experienced in the past, whatever it is, you want to get clear on the origin of these karmic cycles, why you've engaged in them, and how you can move forward now that you realize that you've been in a karmic cycle and that you've broken that karmic cycle. Imagination. It says, I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. So it's almost like at this time, you've got like a twofold to-do list. Number one, you're figuring out where this karmic cycle originated from. And number two, and I love that this comes under the reciprocity card, right? I want you to imagine and feel what it is like to be in a healthy relationship with your divine counterpart. While you're letting go of the past, and the past, again, are these karmic cycles, you need to look to the future. You need to imagine the future. You need to create the future. Feel it real. Feel what it feels like to be with this person in a healthy sort of way. Try to imagine this relationship without the karmic cycle, without the toxicity, without the extra stuff that's weighing you down. Imagination is going to be key at this time. Okay. That's what's going to help shape this new cycle with your divine counterpart. So you know how you were asking for advice, you're seeking advice, you're like, okay, how do I move forward without this karmic cycle? The answer, at least part of the answer to that, is using your imagination. So using your manifestation abilities to imagine and to create the reality that you want to see with your divine partner. Those are your two tasks right now. Oh, and I love this. I don't know if you can see that as well. It says companion. So we have light attributes, loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. And then we've got the shadow attributes, betrayal by misusing confidences, loss of personal identity. So companionship is on your mind. It's also on your partner's mind too. Like both of you know, okay, this is my person. So if you're ever doubting that, oh, do they think I'm their person? Do they feel the same way that I do? They do. There is companionship here, but it's almost like you just have to iron out the details, okay? And you have to work on those karmic cycles. Now, those karmic cycles just don't exist within your relationship, right? There's an aspect of ourselves that feeds into that karmic cycle that is then reflected back to us via our companion. So there's work that has to be done individually. And in this time where you're not communicating, this is the time to do that. But it's almost like the fact that I pulled this card is that Spirit wants you to know this is your companion. You don't have to worry about that. And in this new cycle, I feel like this companionship is going to be a lot stronger. I love the presence of this reciprocity card. Like this lets me know that this is not just for real, but it's like you and this person feel the same way about each other. But it's really about, again, ironing out those details, eradicating those karmic cycles, and imagining what you want this companionship to look and feel like going into the future. Okay, that's going to be of utmost importance for you. All right, let's pull some tarot cards and see what other messages we have. All right, we have the Three of Wands, which is the card of expectation. So it's like you're waiting for them to speak to you. They're waiting for you to speak to them. If you take a really good look at this card, it's like she's on a cliff, right? And she's overlooking the ocean. And it's almost like your divine counterpart is on the other side doing the same thing. Now, both of you see she's got a surfboard. It's like at any moment in time, she could get into the water and sort of meet her counterpart halfway. So this is the gray area that I was talking about before. You guys have to meet in the middle. Both of you are sort of at a standoff or a standstill. I'm not talking to them. They're not talking to me. Now, perhaps the karmic cycle that you've become aware of around the time of the full moon is sort of, perhaps maybe you've always wanted your counterpart to do the heavy lifting. And you do that because it assures you that they're your companion, that they love you, right? They're the one that always has to call. They have to validate you, right? Because that makes you feel secure in the relationship. I feel like you're entering a stage where you have to meet your partner halfway. There's going to be some vulnerability that's required, and it's going to require you to put your neck out a little bit, okay? And I know that that can be scary. However, it's required to have this mutual companionship that you really crave. Now, take it as it resonates. Maybe you're the one that's always putting your neck out there, or maybe it's your partner that's always putting your neck out there. Either way, both of you are expecting the other person to move. Like you guys are at a standstill. You guys are at a standstill, right? You don't want to move. They don't want to move. You both are waiting for the other person to make a move first. Whoever makes a move first is really not the issue. The fact that there is movement toward the middle, the fact that there's movement toward compromise, is what's going to get the ball rolling. And that compromise is going to require some emotional vulnerability. It's going to require you and your partner to stick your neck out a little bit, perhaps in a way that you haven't in the past. And it is going to feel scary, but understand that that's also what helps strengthen bonds. So there is the ability to strengthen the bonds this time around. This is how you get out of that karmic cycle, right? Where one person's waiting for the other to do something, the other person's waiting for that other person to do something. Meeting each other halfway is how you start this new cycle without the karmic, without how you start this new level, or how you enter this new level of your relationship without engaging in that previous karmic cycle. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. We've got the 5 of Wands. All right. So this is another fire sign. So this lets me know, number one, there's a lot of passion here. Okay. However, there could be a lot of arguments. And this could also be why there's this stalemate where it's like, you're like, I've got nothing to say. There could have been an argument. There could have been this, disagreement, this push and pull. I'm seeing like a tug of war even. Again, where one person wants the other one to move, the other person wants the other. It's time to find balance, all right? And it's time to transcend this karmic cycle. So this is letting me know that a part of this karmic cycle story was like one-sidedness or imbalance. Again, this goes back to perhaps one person doing more than the other or vice versa. It's time to get things into balance, because that imbalance is probably what created this runner chaser or this makeup to breakup energy that you guys are so used to. Now it's time to come to a middle ground. It's time to squash this conflict. And I get the sense that this conflict could be pretty heated, because it's like when things are good with you guys and it's very passionate. But when things are not so good, it's also very passionate in the other way. Could be lots of yelling, lots of anger, lots of rage even. That ultimately turns into passion, but that's another story for another day. Either way, what's going to help breaking this karmic cycle, or what's going to help break this karmic cycle, is meeting in the middle. Compromise, understanding that companionship is a team. Both of you have to pull weight. Both of you have to be in it to win it. You're a team. It's not like I need this person to fulfill my needs. Meanwhile, you're not paying attention to theirs, or vice versa. Take it how it resonates. However, this imbalance is what is breaking apart. This is the karmic cycle that's breaking. Okay. Let's get one last card with the tarot. Okay. We've got the Three of Swords. So yeah, there's an element of heartbreak to this. Like, probably the reason why you're not talking is because you're like, I'm over this. I'm tired of makeup to break up. I'm tired of pushing and pulling. I'm tired of my needs not being met and us not being on the same page. This heartbreak could be something that you experienced around the time of the full moon, which is why perhaps you're not in communication. Maybe you're realizing that not being in communication is what's causing you heartbreak. Either way, when your heart is broken, it's broken open. So you can finally wash it and cleanse it of whatever ailment, right? Essentially those karmic cycles. Having your heart break open opens your eyes to the fact that things can continue the way that they're continuing. We can't keep going around this merry-go-round and not getting anywhere. You've come to an impasse. You've come to a point in time where things have to go in one direction or the other. And that direction, I believe, is the two of you coming together, compromising, both of you sticking your necks out for the sake of the relationship and for the sake of companionship. Leveling the playing field, balancing the scales is what needs to happen right now. And that's what you should be focused on. And at the bottom of the deck, we've got Five of Swords. So some of you are feeling exactly like this guy looks. Mentally exhausted, frustrated. You're tired of talking. You're tired of arguing. Okay, so stop arguing. Maybe you do need to cease communication for a little while to get your mind right, to get your thoughts together, to understand what this karmic cycle is and how to break it. Either way, if you're not in communication right now, that's not a bad thing, because I feel like if you are in communication, it's just going to be lots of this, and lots of this. Like, it's really up to you to change the tides, change the direction of the relationship. And I'm not saying it's your sole job. Like, you have to do it and not your partner. You know, you really have to use your imagination here, your manifestation abilities, your creative abilities to imagine a situation where it's reciprocal, where it's equal, where both of you are adding to the benefit of the relationship, where both of you are vulnerable in a way that you can not only express yourself, but be supported in expressing yourself. It's meeting halfway. And that's what you have to work on in your mind right now. In your mind's eye, in your imagination, imagine the best case scenario for your relationship where both of you are equal partners, equal companions. You're both equally providing. You're both equally vulnerable, and it works. Okay. So you have two tasks. You have to end this karmic cycle, and then you have to imagine your relationship on equal footing with your companion. Okay. And so now I want you to ask a yes or no question, and I will pull a card to answer. So take a moment to think of a question in your minds. The answer is no. It says you can't fake it now. What glitters isn't gold. So whatever you asked, the answer is no. Okay, so hopefully you got the clarity, the confirmation, and or the illumination that you were seeking in this reading. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Hello, my loves. So this is the message for those who chose pile number 3. So I've already prayed over the cards. I've selected some oracle cards that will go over first. Then I will use some tarot cards to get a deeper message. And then at the end of the message, you'll have the opportunity to ask a yes or no question, and I will pull a card to answer that question. All right, so let's get into it. So when I was praying and meditating with respect to your message, I kept hearing the word like gel, jelly, jam. And so that was Spirit's way of letting me know like something is sticky. There's a sticky situation. I also heard the word jealousy. So I don't know if jealousy is something that you're dealing with, something that's present in your divine partnership, whatever it is, but jealousy definitely came up. So there could be a sticky situation. There could be a situation where jealousy is involved. But let's look at the cards and see exactly what we have going on. So first, we've got date night. Get ready to be wined and dined. All right, so this could be literally as it states, like you're getting ready for a date night, you're going out on a date, or this could be a situation where maybe your counterpart or maybe you are going on a date with somebody else. Hence why jealousy is present, hence why it is a sticky situation. I'm getting a very interesting take on this. So for some of you, maybe you are sort of separated from your divine counterpart or whatever, right? And maybe you are presented with the opportunity to date somebody else, or someone else has asked you out on a date. And so this may evoke feelings of jealousy with your divine partner, within your relationship. Either way, there's this element of perhaps seeing someone new, entertaining someone new. And I feel like it's you. Like, I feel like the person that's watching this video, maybe you desire to go on a date with someone else. Maybe you're keeping your options open. Okay. Take it as it resonates, but there's this element of keeping options open and perhaps dating other people that's present right now. Okay. Next, we have this called Counterpart. And in this deck, this signifies cutting something out. So perhaps there's communication that's cut. Maybe this is a time where there is a break or a separation with respect to your divine partnership. Maybe some of you are realizing that you don't want to date other people, right? Either way, there's this element of cutting something off. And this cutting off, it's cut and dry and it's final. There isn't any wavering, right? There isn't 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's a complete clean break. So there's a break here. Now take it as it resonates, right? Spirit is letting me know this isn't a situation where, okay, this is exactly how this is working out. These are just the elements that are present within your energy field right now. So don't try to make anything fit that doesn't. If it doesn't fit, then it doesn't fit. However, if it does, keep an open mind, because there's this energy of, okay, maybe you and your partner don't want to date anybody else and you're cutting off all other options. Or maybe you're deciding that this is a time where you need to sort of take a break and see other people. Again, take it as it resonates. Next, we've got grief and sadness. All right, so this is letting me know, and this is a number 10, which reduces to a 1. So it's a new beginning. Okay, so someone is hurt here. Something has ended. But the presence of date night, whatever's ending doesn't feel like a solid relationship. It feels like, someone who was casually dating, someone who was sort of playing the field, and that is done. Okay. Some of you are realizing that in this stage right now, where you are right now in life at this present moment, casual dating is not your thing. Like, you want commitment. You want a solid relationship. You want a partner, right? Some of you are realizing that the dating scene ain't it. Some of you are really focused on your divine counterpart, whether you know them or not, or being in a union that is a divine union, right? And some of you are just realizing that this dating scene, it just brings a lot of grief and sadness. The dating scene requires you to play games. It's very cat and mouse. It's just not for you. You're finding that it's more grief than anything else. And you're tired of this. You're tired of this energy. You really want stability. You want to be wined and dined by someone who loves you, who's committed to you, right? So there's certain things that you're either cutting out right now or you're being urged to cut out at this time. Next. Balance, yin and yang. All right. And so this is also a number 4, which is about stability. So again, there's this stability that you want. This dating and playing the field is not for you. There's this balance, and you're looking for a very balanced relationship. Balance and equity is definitely something that's probably at the top of your mind right now. You want someone who's not going to play games. In the same way that you're not going to play games, you don't want them to play games. As much as you put into the relationship, you want them to put into the relationship too. So you're seeking balance right now. You're seeking a partnership where There's give and take where there's a team and there's balance. There's also a balance between masculine and feminine energy. Now, the message I'm getting is it's coming in very strongly. It's sort of like in this dating game, you find that you're either exuding too much masculine energy or maybe you're exuding too much feminine energy. There isn't a balance between the two. There isn't this give and take. When we have balance, when we have homeostasis, there is this level of peace and harmony. And you haven't been experiencing peace and harmony lately. You've been too much in your masculine energy or too much in your feminine energy. And balance is what is needed right now. So this is perhaps that something that you're being guided to work on at this time. Next, we have descendant, and it says invitation, but this signifies the 7th house. This is all about relationships, and this is a 37, which reduces to a 10, which is a 1. So this is a new cycle that you are sort of entering, or you're being urged to enter into right now, where there isn't these playing games, there isn't playing the field, there's balance, and it's sort of this depth that this relationship should provide, right? Or should have. And anything that's not that, you're sort of being urged to cut it out. Okay. So it's safe to say that you're at a point where you're tired of the messy situations. You're tired of the dating scene. And you're ready to cut all that out. You're ready to get serious. You're ready to have a balanced relationship. Okay. Next, purpose. I know what I am here to do. I'm hearing dating with a purpose, right? So again, dating just to play the field, dating to audition, that's not your thing. If there's anything that I am receiving when it comes to this message, is that playing the field is not the way to go. This is the time to focus on commitment. It's the time to focus on a real substantial relationship and leave the games and the grief and the sadness behind. What is your purpose also? Rather than just dating with a purpose, it's more so about what is your purpose in life? Where are you headed? For some of you, it's like you've been wandering aimlessly, okay? And perhaps that's very evident in the fact that maybe you've been dating aimlessly also. It's these sort of shallow, fly-by-night, flash-in-the-pan kind of things that no longer serve you. And that could be evident, or it could be evidence of the fact that maybe you feel like you're floundering in life. Maybe now is the time to focus on your individual purpose. And as you do that, that is how you will encounter your divine counterpart. That's how your divine counterpart, that's how you can become aligned with your divine counterpart. Let me give you a perfect example. Being in your purpose is not just about what you're supposed to be doing. It's also about being your authentic self. When you're your authentic self and you're moving authentically and you're moving in purpose, that's when everything in life starts to align, right? It's almost like if you feel like you've been putting on a facade or you've been trying to fit into a box so that you can date people, so that you can play the field, that is what's causing this grief and sadness. And that's what you have to cut out. When you get authentically, in alignment with who you are, what you want, and what you're supposed to be doing, the right people will be magnetized to you. It's almost like, when a lot of advice that we get when it comes to dating is like, oh, go hang out at this place. Men like to do this, so why don't you go hang out there? Even if that's not necessarily what you are interested in. When you find what you're interested in, when you find what your purpose is, the same person, not the same person, but the person who's in alignment with your authentic self, with your authentic needs, with your authentic desires, will find you. And that's a much better match than just meeting someone at a bar or hanging out at, wherever you think you can find a person, right? Being in purpose and on purpose is what's going to cut out all of these riffraff, if you will. It's what's going to cut out all of the stuff that you don't want in dating and in relationships. Being your authentic self and being on purpose. Father. Okay. This is kind of heavy. So trigger warning. All right. Father, light attributes, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. Shadow attributes, dictatorial control, and abuse of authority. All right, my loves. Those who picked pile 3, daddy issues. Whatever you've been experiencing likely stems from your relationship with your father, a father figure, or an authority figure. Okay. This is what you need to examine right now. And I'm not going to go into what that looks like, what it should be. You know what that is. If you need to seek professional help, like a therapist or something like that, please do so. But understand how perhaps your relationship with your father, or maybe the lack of a relationship with your father, has played out in your dating life. I feel like this is a time for you that's very introspective. I feel like it's a time where you're cutting out what no longer serves you, where you're done with the grief and sadness. You want balance. You want to be on purpose and find someone who matches that energy. But doing the work with respect to fatherhood, take this as it resonates, right? And this is not meant to trigger anyone. And that is not my intention with this. My intention with this is to let you know that perhaps this is where this stems from. This is something that you need to address. For some of you, I'm getting, maybe advice from your father or a father figure may help you get out of this cycle. Either way, a father or a father figure plays into this whole story. So take it as it resonates. I do feel like you are going to be turning a corner when it comes to your romantic life. You're going to be leaving behind frivolous dating, unfulfilled desires, grief and sadness, inequity. And you're moving to a place that is stable, where you're on purpose, where you're authentic, and you're attracting people who are of that same wavelength and frequency. So this is an important juncture for you, because this is where things change. This is where things change, when things change, and when you can start really moving forward in the direction that you ultimately want to be in a loving, stable, and secure relationship where there are no games, where there isn't mind control, where there isn't an abuse of authority or anything like that, where it's stable, it's balanced, and it's on purpose. All right, let's pull some tarot cards for, some more depth to these messages. First card out, we've got 5 of Wands. So some of you are feeling conflicted in the sense that some of you are like, I give up. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. I don't want to keep dating the same kind of people and experiencing the same kind of things. And that's sort of at odds with, but I want a partner. I want to be in a committed relationship. I want to have the relationship that I desire, right? So it's this inner conflict, this inner struggle to continue dating or not to continue dating. Now, the difference is going to be how you approach it, right? I just said that, you're tired of the riffraff. Maybe it's, father issues that are playing out in terms of your dating life. Once you get authentically within yourself and you get on purpose, that's when things are going to start to change. So don't just automatically write off dating, right? It's time to recalibrate within yourself. And when you're truly in alignment with your highest self, with your purpose, with who you are at your core, that's when things are going to change. And that's when you'll no longer feel this conflict and this inner struggle. Okay. Ace of Pentacles. I like this because this is planting a seed of opportunity. Once you do that work, once you decide to get off this merry-go-round of this hellscape of the dating scene, you can plant seeds that can blossom into substantial and meaningful relationships. Again, once you do that work. Excuse me. There's possibility here. So again, don't just write off dating like, oh, this isn't working. I'm not going to find. There is possibility here. Keep hope alive and plant good seeds that you want to see blossom. See how this is a wilted rose where it's dying, right? This represents your old dating life. This represents what you were experiencing. You have to mourn that. You have to allow that to die so that you can plant better seeds. seeds of balance, seeds of purpose, seeds of mutual love and respect. These are the seeds that you need to be planting at this time. Okay, let's pick one more card here. All right, I like this. We have Page of Cups. This is new relationship. This is something new brewing on the relationship front. So I want you to see this progression, right? Being tired of the dating scene, struggling to figure out whether you should continue to date or not because you don't want to keep meeting the same people. Cutting out what no longer serves you and planting seeds of the type of relationship that you want to have. And then it appears, right? You have to have skin in the game, right? And I feel like this Page of Cups is you putting the right emotions out there, you focusing on the right emotions, cultivating those emotions within you, and then seeing that come to fruition in your outer reality. This is like someone starting to come around. And what's interesting, I love the depiction of this card. If you'll notice, there's a pig with wings right here. It's like when pigs fly, it's almost like the impossible. You're probably looking at the dating scene. You're like, it is impossible for me to find who I really want. It's not. Once you cultivate the right seeds, what you think is impossible will actually come to fruition. So there's hope here. I don't want you to lose hope. You know, you're very conflicted about whether to date or not because you're like, oh, the dating scene is horrible, right? No, if you plant those kind of seeds, that's what you're going to sow. However, if you're planting healthy seeds of purpose, of authenticity, what you think is impossible will become possible and a new relationship will emerge. I see a new relationship on the horizon for you as long as you're planting the seeds that you want to see grow. Okay, let's see what we have at the bottom of the deck. Oh, all right, Pisces, we got the King of Wands. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a man, but I see someone who's very confident, someone who's very fiery is coming on the horizon. So this is someone who embodies your desires. This is someone who's confident, who's stable. You see how he's wearing a red shirt here? This is like root chakra. This is stable energy. This person is coming to stay. This isn't just a fly-by-night, flash-in-the-pan kind of thing. This is someone who may be committed and they're fiery. They represent your desire. So the seeds that you're planting, I see them starting to grow. And this is what they're going to grow into. This could be a man. It could be a woman. Take it as it resonates. But this is a very passionate person, a confident person who is here to stay. So don't give up hope. Don't think that all hope is lost. The dating pool is a cesspool. Plant seeds that you want to see grow, and they will indeed come to fruition. All right. So now I want you to think of a yes or no question. So take a moment to think about what you want to ask, and I will pull a card for you. We've got no. It says feeling out of sync, not compatible with you. Okay. So you see these like peas in a pod, right? It's important to use your discernment at this time. It's not to say that the next person that you meet is going to be your companion, but be discerning. Remember, I said it's all about being authentic and being on purpose. Those who are not in alignment with who you truly are, they're going to stick out like a sore thumb. And you'll know. It'll be an instant no. So you don't have to overthink it. If it doesn't feel like a match, then it won't be. All right? So hopefully you got the clarity, the confirmation, or the illumination that you needed with this message. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.